Over the last 27,000 miles in 27 months, I've enjoyed driving my GR Corolla. However, if given the opportunity to make the purchase again, I don't think I would have gone with the Toyota. I bought my GR Corolla because it was an honest-to-goodness effort to bring an all-out, charismatic hot hatch to market. This is not about refinement. It's not really even about numbers. It's about taking an economy car and injecting it with steroids until it becomes Captain Japan. I've always wanted to own a car like that, so when Toyota built it, I put my money where my mouth was. Today, I'm selling the car. This might actually be my last drive in the thing. So I want to get into the nuances of what I've really enjoyed with this, along with what I think Toyota should do to improve it. Before we dive in, if you enjoy fun, detailed car content, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. If we reach 100,000 subs by 2026, I'll make another special series for the channel. Thank you. The boosted 1.6 liter was a smart move. We're talking 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds if you can make the most of this 6-speed manual gearbox. But what I appreciate more is actually just the power band. You feel like you're building up in power the whole time. It wants to rev. It wants you to push the car to its 7,000 RPM red line. Plus, the 3-cylinder has a unique induction sound. You get some turbo noise in there, a little bit of blow-off valve. It's just fun to ring out. Faster cars exist, but I think an engine with soul outweighs G-forces. The gearbox is good. This cable-operated shifter is not as mechanically gratifying as the Civic Type R, but I think the gearing is perfect. You're going to have to shift twice to get to 60, so you're always having to interact with it. There's also not a bunch of rev hang either, so you can really push the car through its paces without feeling like you're abusing it. Something that I have really grown to appreciate, at least, is the slow-ish grab of the clutch. I can modulate this very easily to make for great launches and to make for less stressful city driving. You also do have an anti-stall. It won't actually keep the car from stalling, but it feeds in a little bit of revs just as you're starting out. So as long as you have a little bit of control with your left foot, you don't need to worry about making yourself look a fool in public. And to further that, you also have auto rev matching. Now, of course, this also comes standard with all-wheel drive. So you're going to have an ever so slightly taller gear ratio in the rear. This means that the center differential, which is really just a wet clutch pack, acts more like a brake, and this is how they're able to achieve a rear bias in certain situations. Up to 70% of torque can be sent to the rear, though there are a couple of disclaimers. It's not a proper full-time system, as it can disconnect to the rear axle, and it has some thermal-related difficulties. So I've actually gotten my all-wheel drive system to overheat once, and that was on Sonoma Raceway in the summer. It happened after probably about 10 minutes of really pushing the car. I got a few laps out of it, and then it went to front-wheel drive, and then it was an understeering mess. So what I would do to avoid this is install a transfer case cooler. The people at 555 Engineering figured out that that was the weak point, made a cooler, and I definitely recommend that for the person who's going to regularly track this thing. If not, you'd have to be horribly reckless or in crazy heat to be able to overheat this thing on a public road, at least in my experience. When all is functioning, the GR has claws. Front and rear limited slip differentials are now standard for 2025, and they help this put the power down with ease. Even in the winter, the Corolla is a blast. Over my time with the GR Corolla, I've gotten the chance to push the limits of its handling, and I have some big takeaways. Out the box, I think this is a really good setup for back roads. Body roll in this kind of setting is well under control, and when the road is imperfect, this does an excellent job of maintaining that confidence. as you begin to push the car harder on a track, it does become apparent that it's a little soft. It's still, in my opinion, pretty easy to control, but if you're looking for something more planted and high-speed focused, there are definitely better options. The same goes for the steering. Something like the Honda Civic Type R is going to give you a little bit more feedback. It's going to build up more naturally, but I do think this is precise, very predictable, and well-weighted, especially in the sport mode. And it communicates some of the road to you, though when you're pushing its limits, it's just understeer heavy, especially on its stock Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tires. I upgraded to the PS4S's after driving an Elantra N with them, and I cannot vouch for these enough. It's still not quite as sharp as that Hyundai or the Honda, but it does wake this thing up and make turn-in a little bit more immediate. I also really like these brakes. After just upgrading the fluid, I had no issues on the track, and when I recently changed out the pads because they were getting a little noisy, I was pleasantly greeted with an open back caliper design, which makes for much quicker pad swaps. Oddly enough, the stock pads generate a brake dust storm, so I wish I changed them earlier. I think another thing that makes this feel approachable and gives me a bunch of confidence on real roads is the size. This is a properly small car. Yes, that does mean that you're going to have limitations with the back seat and the cargo area, but you can still bring a few of your friends to an event if you really need to. And it makes this feel a little bit more down to clown in any scenario. And this isn't nerve-wracking to drive in a city either because you have a little bit of sidewall. A lot of cars in this class ride on 19-inch wheels, whereas this uses 18s. The tires aren't super wide either. This makes the rubber not terribly expensive. And if we're bringing up real-world advantages here too, this is a very efficient engine. I've been able to get 32, 33 miles per gallon when I'm going easy on it. I think over the course of my last 7,000 miles, my average has been over 28 miles per gallon. And on the highway, you have great active driving aids. Yes, a lot of driving enthusiasts are now calling me a coward and trying to take away my bro card, but this does actually make driving less fatiguing when it's 10 hours at a time. It doesn't intrude on me when I'm trying to have fun either, and you can quickly and easily disable it if you just put it in sport mode and then shut off traction control. I think this is the most user-friendly hot hatch. For 2025, the suspension has been retuned and some architecture has been tweaked around back with the hopes of improving stability, according to Toyota. So maybe this has been slightly improved for 2025, but as my car sits, I do wish that this thing maybe had a little bit less body roll for how rough it can be on a bad road. You're gonna feel every bump and crevice. That is the nature of this thing. And when you combine that with an interior that likes to rattle or squeak here and there, it's going to become frustrating if you daily drive a bunch of bad roads. I also think that the cabin of the GR Corolla is a little dull for what it is, at least in core grade. If you go with the premium, it gives you suede seats, and the circuit or premium plus trims improve the materials slightly, but here it's just going to feel like the most basic Corolla with a nice digital gauge cluster, more aggressive seats, and a big handbrake. If I'm buying a car like this, I want it to feel a little bit more special on the inside, though I suppose at the same time, this really is supposed to be an economy car turned mad, and this kind of goes along with that theme. I do want to say though, after 2 years of not having a center console, I've really gotten used to it. It doesn't bother me at all. If anything, I just miss having the extra storage. While I haven't suffered any mechanical failures, I did see one expensive issue. When I was driving across the country, this failed on me. They actually had to replace the whole infotainment in California. It was just constantly getting stuck in a boot loop where it was just restarting. Thankfully, I haven't heard of too many other owners reporting that, but it did concern me, especially as this car's warranty begins to go away. On a more positive note, if you want a new one with a fresh warranty, dealer markups have dropped off in a lot of different regions. Sometimes you can find these for a few grand below MSRP. Man, how times have changed, because when I bought this, $2,000 over was the best that I could find, and I only justified it because I was telling myself, this is for the channel, this is for the channel, This is for the channel. We've mostly financially recovered since then, so I'm not too upset with it. For $40,000, I think they're getting quite a bit of performance car with the GR Corolla. Let's get back to that Honda for a second. I think that is the car that I would have bought if I could do things over again. I think that the interior is much better. The steering is sharper. The gearbox is one of the most satisfying around. It's more practical, it's got a better sound system, and on a track, it's quicker. The Civic Type R is a no-compromise sports car hatchback. And if you want something like the Honda with a lot of flair and capability, but for much cheaper, the Hyundai Elantra N is a great option too. I just didn't find it to have the same level of driver engagement. And if you prefer to have something a little bit more understated, more daily focused, but still high performance, the Golf R is there for you. We have a lot of different options today, and I'm glad that the GR Corolla is one of them, even if there's room for improvement. What I've learned over my time with this car is that I think my personal preference when it comes to hot hatches is the Civic Type R approach. That being said, I do think that there are several ways Toyota could improve this car. So first, here are the things that Toyota, if you're watching, I want you to do immediately, not just with a redesign. One, you can add a little bit more flair to this interior. Like, it doesn't need to be as ho-hum even in the core model. Two, if you gave this just better tires, just throw on Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, and the lateral G improvement will, one, probably earn it better press with improved lap times, and two, it makes the car feel a little bit more eager to dance, and I think that's just such a simple fix here. And three, add a transfer case cooler from the factory. So that way people can just focus on how good this all-wheel drive system is and not how it stops being an all-wheel drive system after a few laps. Now, moving into a future generation, I'd like to see an improvement in quality, and I'd be willing to pay $1,000 or $2 more for that. Maybe the new refresh helps, but since they've been reiterating that it's for stability, I do want them to try to improve this for less understeer as well. This just does have that tendency to push. If they could make this feel a little bit sharper in a future generation, I think it would definitely make for a more positive reception all around. As I close off my final drive in the GR Corolla, I just want to tell Toyota thank you. Thank you for taking a chance on something that's probably not going to have a big return on investment. This bonkers idea for a Corolla is the kind of thing that gets me excited about cars. The GRC fails as the king of hot hatches. It's not setting lap records, it's not the peak of driver engagement, nor is it packing much refinement. Instead, it delivers on lighthearted, approachable fun for the real world. With better tires, it's entertaining to find the limits on a track. In a straight line, it's addicting to ring out, and on a back road, it's a beast no matter the conditions. For me, I'm looking to get into something more pure, lightweight, and Miata. Thanks for watching. Not just now, but over the past 7 years. None of this could have happened without you all. And I assure you, better things are on the way. Just not my Miata. That one's been at the port for 3 months and it has not moved yet. I'll catch you in the next one.